Wars. That is what we are talking about today. And no. Today, these are not fictional wars. These are good old-fashioned historical ones, okay? That is what I'm going to be talking about today, okay? It's been a while since I've had a dedicated history video for the channel, and my history fan base have been reminding me that y'all have just not been fed well, okay? And I'm gonna try to do better in feeding my historical fan base, because some of y'all don't remember this. There was like a point before I ever wanted to do like any like type of like talking about video games, TV shows, or movies. I just wanted to talk about historical stuff, and then we more or less kind of became Ethan on everything. So it's a weird how things kind of snowballed into this area, and I need to feed my historical fan base. And I thought no better video to do that than it would be talking about historical wars on the chances of me surviving them, okay? And listen, compiling a good list for this video was pretty tough, I'm not gonna lie, okay? Because as a filthy American, the urge to do the American Civil War, the War of 1812, the Vietnam War, the Gulf War, and really just a list of America's, I was gonna say biggest hits, but just hits in general, was pretty strong. However, I've decided to make this a little bit different. I'm taking some of the, I'm gonna be real, just worst conflicts I've ever heard. There's one on here called the Taiping Rebellion. 30 million people just are gone. 30 million? Brother, I'm sorry, dude. Chinese history is never gonna beat the allegation of the entire thing is just, oh yes, we were just vibing. Then, the Taiping Rebellion began, ushering the Qing Dynasty. 30 million people died. So we, just kept on going. That's literally just Chinese history, okay? And I'm gonna be real. There's not gonna be as many on here, because I just want to rant about a lot of these. I really do. There's gonna be a lot of crass outs in this video, I'll just be honest, because you're getting me to rant about some of my favorite talking points, that being the Crusades of Genghis Khan, the actual Crusades, and of course, World War II. Okay, we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about in this video, and if you are entertained by this video at all, and if you are part of the historical fan base, please like, comment, and subscribe. We're trying to get to 250,000 subscribers before the end of the year. That is the goal, and we are on track to do it because of the support of you guys. And with all that out of the way, let's get into the video of historical wars I would and wouldn't survive. Let's go. Civil War, the American Civil War. I do gotta give us this, because I want to rant about the Civil War really quick, okay? It is the war that we lost the most amount of Americans in, bar, of course, World War II. But actually, the Civil War, we did lose a little bit more, and I understand that is, of course, we're counting both sides, the Confederacy and the Union. So more or less, if anybody did get iced during the Civil War, that counted for us. Obviously, I understand why that's the case, okay? But when we're looking at the Civil War, this is what I gotta think about. Don't go to the Battle of Gettysburg, because that was an absolute shit show of a thing. And bro, if you actually go to see, if you look at a picture of the Gettysburg Memorial, how eerie it is that this one plot of land, we lost more Americans in this one single battle that occurred in our history, bar the invasion of Normandy in World War II. This one area will it occurred, okay? And when we're looking at the Civil War, am I gonna have a Civil War rant? Because I have a lot of Southern brothers that watch this, and I'm just gonna be real here. Do you have any idea how weird it is that after a Civil War, we build statues to the people that were a traitor to our country? Do you have any idea how weird that is? And don't get me wrong, bro, Robert E. Lee had some aura. There is some, Abraham Lincoln was straight up having nightmares that he was going to face off against Robert E. Lee. Brother, imagine being such a menace that Abraham Lincoln actively dreaded facing you, okay? And Robert E. Lee was a good general. But at the same time, dog, brother, he was a traitor, though. He just was. There's no other way to say it. I'm sorry, the Confederacy was an actual traitorous movement against the actual American government. And I understand there's gonna be, oh, okay, well, it's about states' rights versus government rights. And it's okay, states' rights to what? Tell me. Oh, well, what was Article 1 of the Confederacy? Tell me what Article 1 was. Article 1 was literally, we want to own slaves. Brother, I'm sorry. Owning slaves after you've industrialized as a nation is like beating the entirety of Elden Ring, spamming summons in the arcane blood build, and saying that you are the greatest player to ever live. No, brother, you're cheesing it. And yes, that is the most basic way I can explain, like, the morality of slavery after the Industrial Revolution. If you have the technological ability to replace slavery and you still use it, I'm gonna be real, that's cringe. Very cringe. Don't do that. I'm sorry, that's dumb, okay? Like, if the Romans had slaves, I get it. At that point in history, literally everybody was doing it. I really can't get mad at them. That's like looking back in like the UFC and getting mad at one person for juicing when literally everybody was hopping on that Minute Maid, okay? That's really the best way that I can describe it. So I can't get mad at the Romans, but at the same time, dog, like, brother, we gave you 10 years to wean off the slavery, and you guys were doing everything in your power to have more slaves. Every law that we put into place was to limit it because you've actually made your economy built upon it. I hear the argument that the majority of people in the South did not own slaves, and that is a legitimate argument. Lead with that. Brother, take down the Confederate flag. Oh, well, it's a part of my Southern pride. It's part of my Southern culture. Annoying Orange from Cartoon Network was around longer. Brother, Fred from Nickelodeon was around longer than the Confederacy. I'm sorry, bro. It was here for 7 years. Chill. I'm sorry. It's not that big. There are some social media trends that lasted longer than the Confederacy. So how about this? We pipe it down a little bit, and we take the L with some pride. Hey, yo, South, you were a little bit crazy a little bit, but hey, the Union kind of roped you back in. In terms of survivability, the fact is that's top of tough. Easily top of tough, okay? Like, in terms of, like, obviously, like, Union versus the Confederacy, and the Confederacy had better generals. They just did. But at the end of the day, brother, okay, Unions came in clutch. Michigan Gang 411, ancestor died here. I'm not kidding you, okay? Rip them. Anyways, I'm going to put it in tough. I think top of tough is fair. Thank you for listening to my rant about the Civil War, though. I'm sorry, get that out of here. Annoying Orange lasted longer than the Confederacy. Get got, bro. Out of here. The 30 Years' War. Oh my goodness, dude. I'm just gonna say it right now. I think Europe was the PvP server of history. Like, no, like, I've had this debate before, and like when you're talking about like history, like why certain continents, why certain cultures and groups of people have progressed the way that they did. When you look at Africa, when you look at Europe, when you even look at like Asia, and how like, I don't want to say technologically, like how cultures can influence technology and how they were willing to, not how they developed. When we're looking at Europe, when people ask, man, why was the British Empire so effective as an empire? Because before that, it was quite literally the endless PvP server of the world. Oh my goodness, dog. Y'all were warring over the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Okay, like, that's enough. I love my people from the UK. I love my people from the UK. Dog, 90% of the BS we do, we either directly learn from you or we're taking inspiration from stuff that you did. I'm just saying that right now. You want to bring up, the British Empire got rid of our slavery in years before the Americans did. Okay, number one, you didn't get rid of slavery, you relocated it. Don't bring up the labor camps with me, buddy. Okay, don't be bringing those up with me. And also, you guys were a literal empire at that point. You guys didn't need slavery at the same realm that we did because we were a developing nation. I'm sorry, we're getting into a whole semantical argument right here. Oh, where was I? Okay, when we're going into the 30 Years' War, what basically happened is you take the Holy Roman Empire, which is in what would be modern-day Germany, to my American audience out there. And essentially what was happening is the entirety of the Holy Roman Empire, politically speaking, was a powder keg waiting to go off. And what happened? What was the big thing that caused the 30 Years' War? Catholics. Yup, them again. Catholicism and the Catholics and the Protestants started having beef, and that was used as a scapegoat to cause all manner of conflicts from everything from Bohemia to Sweden to the leaders of the Holy Roman Empire. Everybody was going at it for 30 years. If you were an average person at this time, oh my goodness, bro, you were getting cooked. And I mean literally, some of y'all were actually getting roasted on a spit. Dude, it was bad. It was bad. I'm saying it like I was there. No, bro, reading the history of the 30 Years' War, and first off, let me just say this right now. How weird is it that we live in a day and age where, like, a war can last 3 years, and we are automatically saying, hey, yo, bro, speed that shit up. Speed that shit up, bro. Come on. Come on. Really? 3 years? What's going on? This was 30 years. If there was a conflict that was 30 years, we would actively be like, hey, do we really want it that bad? And this was because of split between Catholicism and Protestants, but it was also being used as a land grab by a whole bunch of different people. So really what was going on is they were waiting for a war to kick off, and then all of this other Game of Thrones odd drama was being thrown into it, and then all of that malarkey happened, okay? That's essentially how it went down. However, literally millions. I think it's in the estimate, you can correct me on this, I believe it was anywhere from 8 to 10. It was 8 to 10 million gone. And, yeah, nah. Actually, I'm gonna look this up live because I actually think it was more than that. Yup, bro, got it. 8 million people were gone. Okay, I'm saying not celebrating 8 million people were gone. I'm just happy that I got that right off the top of my head as an Americano. It also says that the population of Germany decreased by 50% after 30 years. Yeah, dude, that's insane because that also accounts for a fall in birth rate at the same. Dude, that's actually insane. I'm probably cooked. I might move that up to cooked, actually. Actually, I am moving that up to cooked. You want to know why? Because plague season was a thing. I'm sorry. Here's another thing. The amount of glossing over just how bad the medieval ages were is absolutely aggravating. I'm sorry, dog. Oh, well, maybe it was more fun back then. Brother, what are you talking about? There was actually an incident where a bunch of rich people came together and they were partying, okay? But before there was diddy parties, there was poopy parties. And the latrine that was underneath the ball, like, the floor caved in and a ton of people literally drowned in human fecal matter. Absolutely not. That's an actual thing that just happens? Fuck that, brother. Oh, well, I mean, like, it was just... Did you know that part of the reason that, like, the royalty moved from castle to castle is they would destroy the castle so bad was just, like, this debauchery that they had to move to another castle while the other one got cleaned? I'm sorry, dude. The medieval ages were actually just... like, that's disgusting. Actually just gross, bro. Cooked, bro. Out of here. World War I. Okay. When we're looking at World War I, there's a lot of things that come to mind. This was the first time where Germany, or as I like to call them, the edgy kid in history, and I got a lot of German fans. I didn't know that until the Q&A. We had a real awkward conversation about, like, hey, yo, Japan doesn't get enough blame for World War II as they deserve. And then one of the one of my German fans came up, and he was like, that is right. And I'm like, ugh. But I like that spirit. Okay, where was I? When we're looking at World War I, the fact is we're dealing with a time where they were turning the air poisonous. We were in this crossing over phase from cavalry, where cavalry was quite literally you're riding on horseback, to, hey, yo, here's a machine gun. That was literally where we were in history. There are stories of keeps and castles that would never be sieged. Well, that never fell over 100 years. That fell in a week due to modern weaponry. World War I does not get enough credit for literally being the game. Like, this is the best way that I can put it for my gamer audience. Imagine that World War I was like the new gen update that came in and revamped the entire meta by adding, this is like playing Fortnite on no builds, and then one person starts building. Like, that is the level of meta sifting that occurred when we're looking at from any war before World War I to World War I. Okay, it started with the assassination of Franz Duke Ferdinand, which... I'm gonna be real, dude. World War I feel like was one of those canon events where, like, if it comes out... Nah, not even that. I feel like World War I was literally destined to happen. Because what do you mean? Like, Duke Ferdinand took a wrong turn, didn't get got, and then he took another wrong turn, and then he like, you have to mess up 2 times for World War I to occur. Also, the dude who executed Franz Duke Ferdinand was alive for World War II. Imagine being the guy, and you know in your heart of hearts that you caused not 1 but 2 world wars. Dude, that's insane, okay? In terms of survivability, where was I? Oh, yeah. They turned the air poisonous with nerve agents. On top of that, we were also in a conflict where Canada's the reason why the Geneva Convention was instituted for a lot of reasons, okay? Imagine, dude, Canada... Let's let Canada vibe in the snow, dude. Oh my goodness, Canada was on an absolute insane run throughout the World Wars. And you know what, bro? My Canadian brethren, I'm going to give you guys some credit when we're going into World War II. But at the same time, dog, chill out a little bit. Go chill out. Go drink some maple syrup. I'm sorry, I can razz you a little bit. I'm in Michigan. I'm literally neighbors with you. I'm closer to you than I am to 90% of states in America. Okay, that's the truth. Okay? I'm sorry, dude. I'm cooked. I could literally get eaten alive by rats in this conflict. I might actually... The only limiting factor... which is why it's staying in cooked. Actually, it's already in top. I was going to say the only limiting factor was the length of World War I. The length of World War I was not as long as a lot of the other conflicts here, but if it was, oh my goodness, we're cooked. So I'm just going to put it in cooked. I think that's fair. The Great Emu War. This occurred right after World War I because as the entire world was going into the Great Depression during the 1920s, Australia was getting into some farmland, and then you were going to go into some agriculture. As they were going into some agriculture, one thing that they started noticing is that a lot of their crops were being eaten by wildlife, and there was no wildlife, there was no animal that was more guilty for this than the emu. You see, the emu, literally every single mating season, were coming in, doing the kerfluffle and the cropples, and then making more babies that are going to be, in turn, eating more of your crops, okay? And I have some of my people in my Australian fan base. I'm just going to say this right now. This is literally an Australian issue. America would literally never have this problem. Oh my gosh, dude, this was one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Okay, because let me tell you what the solution was. They had to get rid of 20,000 emus, okay? 20,000 emus, we're packing that up in 1 week here. Give us 1 week, 20,000 gone. Gone. Not even a question, okay? But they had to get rid of 20,000 emus. And I really do need this to be stated. This was such a logistical, dumb decision that they said, hey, yo, here's 10,000 rounds. You got to take out 20,000 emus. What is that math? Okay, let's just assume. Well, no. I'm going to give y'all the biggest benefit of the doubt that I could possibly give you. Let's say we give you 20,000 rounds for 20,000 emus. Objectively, is still a dumb idea. Okay, what's the weapon that we're going to be bringing these in? Okay, they are literally bringing in Louis guns. You know what a Louis gun is? A Louis gun is a big machine gun that we used during World War I. Literally one of the first ones ever. And you hear that and you're like, dang, that's kind of cool. You know what? I'm just going to say it again. I'm going to say that again. This would be the solution a literal child would come up with. I'm not kidding you. Oh, we have 20,000. We got 20,000 emus. Okay, how are we gonna get rid of them? Hey, let's get a big ass machine gun that fires rifle rounds. Okay, that's a good idea, good penetrating power. And then we're gonna put that against 20,000 emus. Well, what would be your solution? Literally, just take all of these farmers, give them some bolt action, and then start giving some more people some bolt actions. And then you're gonna be able to do this, be far more efficient. Because you know what the problem with a Louis gun is? Okay, they're not that accurate when you're trying to, I don't know, hunt a fucking emu. I'm sorry, dog. Why are you using actual military tactics that were used during World War I to take out an emu? Brother, you hunt them. You don't... What do you think they're going to do? You think the emus are going to come to you? You think they're going to come in this, line? No. Brother, we're hunting the emus, not engaging in military conflict with them. We call it the Emu War because the Australians actually tried to use military tactics against them, okay? They ended up only taking out, I believe it's 2,500. It was 2,500 emus after failing a few times. What was one of the instances that stopped it? The emus would just start tanking some bullets and walking away. You want to know why? Because if you're firing at them from an actual hunting distance, the penetrating power of the rounds that you're using isn't going to do as much damage, internal damage, as you think. So do you know what you do? Let's just get an actual just bolt action rifle and getting this done. I'm sorry, dude. This is such an Australian issue to have. Nobody died, but at the same time, dude, how? How? Just consult America on this, dog. We literally... Dude, I'm sorry. America is so stacked when it comes to hunting. And people say this as an insult, but you got to give us this. We are so stacked at hunting, we nerf ourselves with hunting seasons because if we don't have those, we literally delete biomass off the planet. Yeah, you know the passenger pigeon, the one that had I think it was 10 billion passenger pigeons in North America. Guess what? They're gone. Literally extinct because we didn't nerf us. Get out of here, dude. I'm sorry. We are packing up this big-ass passenger pigeon within a week. Get him out of here, bro. Pack him up. We're roast. He's going to become the new turkey by the end of this. Get him out of here. Australia, a little bit disappointed, but you guys became pretty cool after that. So, you know what? You guys are back to baseline. I'm safe, though. The Taiping Rebellion. If I'm saying that wrong, I apologize. However, I gotta say this, okay? Chinese history has got to be some of the most unintentionally funny history ever, okay? Because I'm not even kidding you, okay? And I know some people are gonna cringe. If you look up Chinese historical rebellions on Wikipedia, it is, I'm not even kidding you, stuff like this. The Li Rebellion starts. 10 million dead. 20 more million wounded. Life persists. Us are in the Qing dynasty. 50 million die. We persist. Plagues continue. Like, what is this way of cataloging, dude? If this was American history, we would have 7 different novels from 8 different point of views. I'm sorry, dude. Like, how? What do you mean, the Taiping Massacre? And you're gonna think to yourself, okay, what was so cool about the Taiping Massacre? Brother, up to 20 million people lost their lives during this. 20 million is actually such an insane... Dude, 20 million people is more people than we've ever lost. I want you to think about that. 20 million is more people than us, us as America have ever lost. You are dealing with, like, prime European Crusades levels of numbers when you're talking about 20 million, and this is during a rebellion. Okay, and the Taiping Massacre was led, rebellion was led by a guy that believed that he was the brother of Jesus Christ. And you think to yourself, man, this can't be that. Man, when was this? What, like a little after the death of Christ? Like maybe was it in like the year 900? No, it was in the 1800s. This literally happened during the same time. As the American Civil War was taking place, the Taiping Rebellion was also happening. I want you to think about this, okay? And I'm going to roast China a little bit when we go into World War II. I'm going to roast them a little bit. But I mean this in best of faith, okay? But, brother... What do you mean? We're over here having a civil war over the future of slavery in our union. And you guys are having a rebellion because one dude said that he was the brother of Jesus Christ. 20 million! Out of here, bro. I'm sorry. I'm probably cooked. I just wanted to talk about that. What? That was my reaction to finding that out. What? Yeah. I'm probably cooked, though. I gotta put it there. The Mongol Invasions. I do gotta preface this. I really do gotta preface this. I know somebody's gonna hit me with actually, he didn't want to cross the jungles into India, and, actually, the samurai were able to beat the Mongols. No, they quite literally didn't. No, they didn't. I'm sorry. The plot itself came in and helped the Japanese people to a point where I'm not even kidding you. If I am a Mongol warlord, and I try to go to Japan, and a tsunami squad wipes me, and then I try to invade them again with my new armada. And then guess what? A tsunami squad wipes me again. At that point, Japan might just have plot armor. I'm not kidding. Japan might just have plot armor at that point. The samurai did not beat the Mongols. Well, there was some that made it to land. What about Tsushima? You are literally talking about more or less Korean conscripts that really didn't even want to go to war on behalf of the Mongols. Those are the ones that they more or less fought. Yeah, they fought some Mongols. You didn't beat the Mongols. A tsunami did. I'm sorry. A tsunami has more bodies on the Mongols than the literal Japanese samurai. And I'm sorry, bro. Samurai is low-key kind of overrated. Yeah, they got aura and all, and I agree. Awesome armor. But at the same time, dog, tone it down a little bit. I'm sorry. The Japanese Shogun literally had an infighting civil war and collapsed because they didn't gain anything from defending themselves against the Mongols. The entirety of Japanese society at that point, feudal Japan, was literally built upon the idea of gaining resources through conquering new land. They collapsed the moment they defended themselves. I'm sorry. Get it out of here. I'm cooked. I'm sorry. Whoa. Take it back a little bit. Take it back. I'm sorry, I went on that Japanese rant way too long. Literally everybody else got folded, though. Literally everybody else got folded. If Mother Nature itself did not come in to protect you from Genghis Khan strolled into your hood and squad wiped everybody that you knew, and then put a pedestal on top of you and proceeded to eat your food on top of you. I'm not kidding. He would literally crush people to death on a large eating pedestal as you were holding it up. I'm sorry. He was Genghis Khan was the original King Von. I'm sorry. He just was. Okay, Genghis Khan might be one. I think I actually put him in like #1 in terms of aura and history behind Jesus. That's how major Genghis Khan was. Okay, any Mongol invasion, I'm getting absolutely cooked. There was a time where he invaded what would be like in the Middle East. No, this wasn't Genghis Khan. This was like his descendants, but this is still Mongol invasion. And they sent back Mongol envoys back to Mongolia, tarred and feathered. And then the Mongol invasions came back to the Middle East and literally took this one dude. Took all of his daughters, made them into concubine for high-ranking Mongol officers, and then threw this dude into a carpet and proceeded to march their horses over him. I'm sorry. The Mongols were on such a different level of timing back in the day that we just collectively forget that what they did. What does Mongolia do now? They make stir fry. I'm sorry, dude. You guys literally have a statue made in honor of Genghis Khan, the accursed one. Motherfucker Shao Kahn, dude. He's literally the character. Dude, Genghis Khan is the inspiration for Shao Kahn, the accursed one. I'm sorry. I'm cooked, dude. The Pig War. Yes, this actually did happen. You see, after the War of 1812, America and Britain were still more or less kind of salty at each other because, I don't know, bro. I'm sorry. I'm glad being... Actually, no. I'm going to talk shit about the UK later on. Love you guys, but there's a few things. I'm sorry. Where was I? I'm sorry. There was a pig war, and what basically happened, a pig marched on to an American's property, and then the Americans shot the pig because he thought it was a wild pig. And then, as it turns out, he was, like, belonged to some, like, wealthy British dude. And then this British dude lobbied that there should actually be troops coming into play to arrest the man that shot his prized pig. And then America was like, who the fuck is this guy? And then they came in, sent their military to more or less have a standoff with the British military. And what basically happened was a pig died. Hey-oh, sorry, but you're not going to arrest this dude. It literally happened here. And then we had a law basically clarifying how this is going to be done legally. This is called the Pig War because there was a casualty, and it was a pig. Literally, I'm sorry, dude. Wars are so petty at sometimes it makes me laugh. The Pig War? Get it out of here, dude. I'm sorry, I'm safe. One person died. Not one person. One entity died, and it was a pig. I'm safe. The Crusades. Let me tell you something about Crusades, and I'm going to geek out a little something about logistical warfare, because I'm about to go on an absolute absurd amount of glazing in a second, okay? But when we're looking at the Crusades are a literal logistical fucking nightmare, dude. Imagine trying to go from Britain or France, march your little ass all the way to Jerusalem to go battle in the desert where literally every part of our combat is not made to be battling in the desert. Imagine you're marching in with like big hot plate metal going in the war into the Middle Eastern desert. You are literally going to be baking yourself alive. Don't even get me started with plague with the fact that you are literally marching from France to Jerusalem. And at that point, defending the Holy Land, at that point, you have every conceivable advantage. The fact that they lost even a little bit, and we had the leper king, the king of Jerusalem at any point, is a level of fraud checking that I have, is actually insane. How could you ever lose the Holy Land? I'm sorry. Like, dude, I'm sorry. You're making me root for like the Catholics at this point in history, dude. I'm sorry. They literally had every conceivable disadvantage going into the Crusades. Marching from France to Jerusalem is fucking insane, by the way. The fact that they were ever able to get the Crusades is hilarious to me. How? Brother, how? Okay? I'll keep it real. I'm probably cooked. My one chance, literally my one chance when we're talking about this, is I get enlisted very late in the conflict, and I'm relatively safe. I believe if you were a peasant, your odds of living were 20%, and if you were a knight, it was 40%. I'm probably cooked, but I'm just gonna put it in there. I think that's valid. The Cold War. I know this one's lame, but I wanted something to put in meh. I'll just keep it real with you. The entirety of the Cold War is what basically happened. I feel that. Oh my goodness, I feel a crass out coming on, bro. I'm feeling like something. I'm not even gonna lie, I felt that. Okay, let me tell you something, man. You want to talk crap about America? 100%. Do it. Do it. Do it. You better not be a Soviet. Get the fuck out of here, dude. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Oh, well, we helped you during World War II. You were literally the reason it started. What are you talking about, dude? You signed a non-aggression pact with the Germans during World War II, which stated that you would be able to get West Poland. Why do you think the Polish people don't like Russia even till this very day? Because you literally signed a contract with is basically the devil from the Bible to get Y'all literally signed a non-aggression pact that quite literally stated, hey, yo, we'll allow you to invade Poland because you know Britain's not going to do anything because they're experiencing some financial ruin. And Germany already lost just about everything after the Treaty of Versailles. And you guys are still more or less kind of like bankrupt. And then you're talking about America, and America is entering into the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl. So we really couldn't do anything. Also, I'm sorry, my European brothers, you literally cannot blame American isolationism for World War II when we were literally bankrupt up until the war actually began. World War II literally brought us out of being bankrupt, but I'm sorry, I digress. When we are looking into the Cold War, I'll yap more about what the Soviets did during World War II and why I think their part to play is extremely overrated when you are literally the reason we got into here in the first place. But I understand why the Soviets were mad at us, okay? I get it. But at the same time, dog, one of the best things that the Soviet Unions were ever able to do is that they managed to make communism compete with us. Literally, this is one of the best things that they ever did because they bankrupted themselves near the tail end of the 90s. The Soviet Union fell, and womp womp, we're still here. I'm sorry, that's essentially what happened, okay? You have the space race, you have the arms race, you have the weird psychic stuff that we were trying to do. That's a whole other video in and of itself. But at the end of the day, it's a meh. Yeah, some people died during the Cold War, and that's when you're looking at, like, Black Ops events. Yeah, there's a lot of weirdness, and we nearly had a big nuclear conflict. That's when you're looking at, what was it? The Cuban Missile Crisis was a big one. You had the Bay of Pigs incident. So when people say nobody died in the Cold War, it's like, no, a lot of people died in the Cold War, but you don't hear about it because it was never a hot war. I'm going to put it in meh. They nearly got me. I'm not going to lie, they nearly got me. Nam! Vietnam, to be more precise, okay? Absolutely not. I'm sorry, dude. I'm a Michigan boy. Humidity's already a bitch and a half to deal with. You're telling me I got to deal with some malaria on top of that? Heck no, okay? I'm sorry. I'm going to bring this up right now. If you are going to get mad at people for draft dodging during the Vietnam War, what are you smoking? I'm sorry, the Vietnam War is literally like one of the easiest to point at conflicts that just did not need to happen. At the end of the day, I get it. You want to make the argument on the Korean War and the Korean War this, the Korean War that. The fact is we actually got to see what happened if North Korea was able to have everything. You got North and you got South. We were the right side of the Korean War. Look at South Korea, look at North Korea. I'm sorry. That is just objectively worse, okay? Oh, don't get me started on the Korean War. They're not on here because I don't want to get pulled into that. Because I know if we bring up the Korean War, one of the first things that gets brought up is, the Korean War is one of the only wars in the history of the world where America was ever able to get pushed back on a military offensive, and they were being forced to fight on the back foot. And I'm like, literally, it was not you, North Korea. It was quite literally, we pushed too far into your borders and China started coming in. However, I would also like to bring us up, we were dropping a 1-to-30 KD ratio. We actively got investigated for executing prisoners when they actually found out we were just so good at reining in headshots that they thought that we were cheating. We literally got an investigation into us for using aimbot because of how effective we were dropping a KD ratio on y'all. I'm sorry, dog. 100%. If you want to talk crap about America, talk crap about America. It's like there's literally a buffet of things to choose. Oh, you guys got pushed back in a military offensive. Yeah, 1-to-30 KD ratio. Be better. I'm sorry. Okay, Vietnam. Yes, Vietnam War, I ain't doing that. I'm sorry, dude. You're talking about a state of people that literally had 10 years of prep time against us, and did they win? It's just like, they more or less were able to wait us out into absolute nothing. That is effectively what was able to... Sorry for the weird cut there. Turns out Randy is still alive. Okay, I'm not going to elaborate that any further. I'm just going to get back into the video. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, I'm sorry. The Vietnamese people. Sorry, by the way. That was totally uncharacteristic of us to do what we did to you. But, y'all did have 10 years of prep time. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, I'm sorry. Invading is significantly more difficult than defending. That's all I'm gonna bring up. I'm sorry. I 100%. You have a whole other of these, maybe false flag events that occurred before that, trying to get us into a conflict. We wanted to go to war with Vietnam before. It's a lot of malarkey, okay? This is what I mean. If you wanna make fun of America, this is how you make fun of America. Korean War is not one of them, okay? When we're looking at the Vietnam War, am I surviving? Listen, we have gangrene, we have junglefoot, we have booby traps, we have... Dude, I'm sorry, absolutely not. We have fragging, we have all of this. I'm probably cooked. Is it as bad as the Taiping Rebellion? No. Is it as bad as the Crusades? No. I'm probably cooked, though. If I'm just being honest, I'm probably cooked. World War II. Woo-hoo-hoo! Ooh, okay. Here we go. We got some rants here. Number one, okay, the entirety of World War II began because the Soviet Union signed a non-aggression pact with Germany at the time, and yes, it was that Germany. Okay, when people look at like the beginning, it's not even argued, really. The reason why World War II started was because Germany invaded Poland, and the only reason that they did it is that they thought the UK didn't have the infrastructure to engage in a large-scale conflict against Germany. And they had to sign a deal with the Soviet Union because they were worried that the Soviet Union was going to attack them for encroaching on their borders with Poland. Okay? That is what happened. The Soviet Unions agreed to the non-aggression pact. They made it illegal to bring up the non-aggression pact afterwards. I'm not kidding you. After World War II, it was illegal to bring up the non-aggression pact in the Soviet Union. They knew that they were guilty for the start of it. I'm sorry, no. The Soviet Union is literally, I would argue, 30% liable for the beginning and the start of World War II, okay? You want to bring up the Battle of Stalingrad? I look at the Battle of Stalingrad, I'm not even going to lie. I see that as penance for what y'all did. 100%. I'm sorry, you want to start this conflict and not really do anything aside from engaging in land grabs on land that's not yours? Okay? Yeah, no. The Battle of Stalingrad happens. You guys were not going to fight Germany until Germany attacked you. You don't get credit. Like, oh, well, World War II was won with American steel, British intelligence, and Soviet blood. It's just like, no, brother. The blood that y'all paid was penance for this, for getting us started, for dragging us into this BS to begin with, okay? And also, what did America do during World War II? Okay, here's the thing. Undeniably, do you know what I think we actually did? Like, what we did that literally made this... We're the goats. Logistical warfare. Oh my gosh. Dude, I read a story that Germany knew that they were going to lose the war the moment they went to an American camp on the front lines, expecting to find that the Americans were struggling just as much as they were. Their people were starving. They were rationing hard. Only to go to the front lines camp and they had chocolate bars and Coca-Cola. I want you to think about the level of pettiness that takes. The level of, I own you. That is, that we signed a contract with Coca-Cola to get Coca-Cola on the front lines because we had intelligence that the favorite drink of Ace Dog himself of Germany was Coca-Cola. Oh my. I'm sorry, that is a different level of psychological warfare that we are over here like, oh yeah, bro, y'all are over starving on the front lines, fighting for your life on your homeland. Yeah, guess what? Our front lines guys are having some chocolate bars and some Coca-Cola. And we can logistically do that because we are literally the goats at logistical conflict. We can mobilize to any square foot on this planet within 24 hours. I'm sorry, dude. That is unmatched by literally anybody in the history of ever. Nobody ever has been able to do that, okay? I'm sorry. That is the thing that we are the best at. Moving from point A to point B, and in warfare, logistics are literally 80% of the battle. Okay, that is the truth, okay? And that is what we brought into World War II. That made UK perform, that made the That made the United Kingdom perform at a better clip. That made our allies perform at a better clip. It allowed us to engage on multiple fronts in conflict, from the Pacific theater to the European theater. It allowed us to do this. It broke the morale of Germans, because the Germany were engaging on battles against us and battles against the Soviet Union. And the Soviet Union was over here. We're losing too many men. Why won't you send reinforcements? You are literally the reason we are here. Pay your penance, dog. Defend your capital. What do you want us to do? Well, why aren't you helping us? Brother, we were enemies literally 6 months ago. I don't care. Yeah, that's a whole other thing. I'm sorry, bro. Soviets get way too much glaze for World War II. Way too much glaze, dog. I'm sorry. Y'all only fought them because they attacked you first. Y'all were fully satisfied with literally not doing anything until they attacked you. That is the truth. Y'all literally... I'm sorry, dude. Soviet Unions, I'm sorry. The only credit that you get is the fact that you battled in your self-interest at the very end, okay? Okay, we got dragged into it because of Pearl Harbor, okay? We didn't want to get involved. We ended up getting involved in there. We came in, and you can say, oh, well, the war was eventually going to end with us winning. And I'm over here like, really? Really? Buddy, sorry, the UK was getting blitzkrieged so hard. There was active plans on, like... on giving up before we even entered into the conflict, because it wasn't so bad for the UK they knew at that point. Okay? I get it 100%. We didn't know the full horrors of what they were engaging with. But then America came in, where, logistically speaking, was able to help out all the allies. Everybody was performing at a better clip, and then we managed to win. And then we go into Japan. And we're not... I'm sorry, dude. Japan gets away with literally too much. Okay, if the people from the UK want to have a debate with, like, America about the morality of conflict during World War II, they want to talk about the bombing of Hiroshima, they want to talk about the bombing of Nagasaki, they want to talk about the napalm attacks. You want to bring any of that up? Go forward. Do it. 100%. If I hear some Japanese historian come in here and say something like, yes, and the Americans went too far with the bombing of Hiroshima. Ha! What do you mean? What are you talking about? Actually, dog, I'm sorry. Scoreboard. What? Dog, I'm sorry. Y'all literally made it illegal to bring up the massacre of Nanking and made it illegal to talk about Unit 731. Y'all literally made it illegal to talk about your war crimes after the conflict was done. And then guess what? We turned Imperial Japan, which I'm just going to be real, was a military ethno-state. You actually thought that Koreans were the lowest on the Asian caste system. I'm not kidding. I'm sorry, you want some sympathy for that? Okay, let's talk about what you guys actually did in Korea. Let's talk about what you guys actually did in China. How are you guys were able to take that? Oh yeah, you guys engaged in biological warfare. You took fleas that spread the Black Death, and you took out millions of innocent people. Oh, and that's another thing. If the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki didn't take place, it was around 30 days afterwards, they were going to send a submarine to California to launch a Black Plague attack on civilians. I'm sorry, dog. No. We are not having a moral discussion with a regime that is actively targeting innocent people to what? Out of here. Okay. You want to talk about the civilian casualties of Hiroshima and Nagasaki? It is still less than what y'all did in Korea and China. We ended a conflict. Y'all wanted to persist it with casualties. Okay, we're not having a moral discussion with somebody that actively... Get out of here. Actually, get out of here. What are we talking about? Out of here, bro. I'm sorry, brother. As soon as you guys talk about the massacre of Nanking and Unit 731, okay, we can have this discussion. I'm not discussing morality with somebody that does that. Get out of here, okay? Depending on where I'm at, I'm cooked. I'm sorry, dude. Stalingrad, I'm done. Pacific Theater, I'm probably done. Okinawa, the Indies, probably done. Yeah, there's too many. I'm putting it in cooked, dude. I just have to. And there you go. That is historical wars I would and would not survive. Really, I just wanted to yap about some historical wars. It's been a while since I've been able to get this historical rants out of my system. If any of these were really interesting to you and you want a more solo vid on different ones, you want to talk about the Winter War between Russia and Finland, you want to talk about stuff like that, we can talk about that. Leave it in the comment section down below. If you have a tier list, an explained video you wanted me to do, put it in the comment section down below. I think we have a creepypasta video coming out tomorrow, if I'm doing the math right. And yes, we have a lot coming to the channel. If that sounds good to you, please start a like, comment, and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 250,000 subscribers before the end of the year. 500,000 before the release of GTA 6. That is the goal. And with all that out of the way, I hope to see you in the next video. Adios, guys.